How's it going, everyone? Cup of Anime Joe here. And today, I want to review One Piece Chapter 1110. So let's get into it. We have... I have the chapter behind me, so if you see me looking off on the screen, that's what I'm looking at. We have not one Elder Star, but 5 Elder Stars coming in. So this was what I think a lot of us probably thought was going to be happening at the end of the last chapter when Saturn said he was going to perform the summoning, was that the remainder of the 4 Gorosei were going to be coming in. And you know, Egghead, the scales have just kept increasing, but also like tipping. You know, it started out in the Marines' favor, and then it really started to tip towards the Pirates' favor, towards Luffy's crew. But now I think it's just chaos with all of the Gorosei here, because we weren't even handling like Luffy was handling Saturn, but he wasn't damaging Saturn, and we still don't actually know how to hurt the Gorosei. So we got Atlas, and you know, this brings up a good point too, that even with the Stella probably dead, Atlas is still up and running. So I do think that the satellites are going to continue to be able to operate, and maybe Punk Records and the Devil Fruit remains, because the actual brain has already been separated from the Stella body. So maybe we will have some of the satellites still around going forward. But we have the Bonnie, Frankie, and the Giants are back at the ship, right? Bonnie's definitely still a target, but we'll see if that goes anywhere. So we see the Giants and Pacifista taking out some ships, and then we have what I think is still Stella's broadcast going on, talking about coffee and stuff. But we see the room of authority with a magic circle in it, surrounded by flames, pretty cool looking, and black lightning. But all of the members are gone, and then it cuts over to where we ended off on last chapter, with all of the summoning circles and just beams of lightning coming down into them. And we see all 4 Gorosei join Saturn. Now, something that I think is really cool here is that the timer, they say there's 7 minutes left, even if it's not exactly, they say there's 7 minutes left. The timer is not on the Straw Hats side in terms of stopping it. It's on the world government side in terms of stopping it. So now Luffy's goal is kind of going to be both to escape with his crew, but also probably to hold everyone off long enough for Stella's broadcast to go through. At least, even if we don't get the whole thing, at least some important pieces of Stella's broadcast to go through. I like to think at the very least he's going to finish what O'Hara couldn't by name dropping whatever the name of the ancient kingdom is. We also get all of the, I guess, names for the forms of the Gorosei. So St. J. Garcia Saturn, his devil fruit, his demon form, whatever it actually is called the Gyuki. Saint Marcus Mars is called the Itsumade. Saint Topman Warcry is called the Hoki. Saint Ethan Baron Venus Juro is called the Bakotsu. And this is the most normal one sounding one, I guess. Saint Shepherd Jupiter is the Sand Worm. So that's pretty cool. We're actually getting all of their forms here. At first I thought Oda was going to still silhouette no me them, but it's just the first panel. We see them in the silhouette. By the time we get to their introduction panel, we actually get to see all of them. And we got Luffy here. I'm surprised his eyes aren't popping out of his head. But he's like, oh, there's 5 of you monsters. So, I mean, let's be real. He was struggling a little bit, even with one, even though he flattened Kizaru and Saturn like pancakes and tossed him like pizza last chapter. He also admitted that his punches weren't damaging him. And here we get the reveal panel. Supreme overseers of the world government. The 5 elder planets. So I guess we've been calling them wrong this whole time. I've always thought they were the 5 elder stars, but, you know, ever since their name was revealed, it really actually makes more sense for them to be called the 5 elder planets. And, you know, maybe the official will correct this, but at least in terms of this scan here, that's what we have. And here we get all of their forms. And they're like, this is in typical Oda fashion. They're like menacing, but slightly goofy at the same time. I can't put the panels up, but especially Top Man Workery, his like comedically large tusks really kind of make me chuckle a little bit. But we're gonna see here in a little bit that these guys mean business. And this starts with Venus Juro, because at first I thought he was destroying the Pacifista, but I actually think what's happening is he's disabling the Pacifista. So we see Venus Juro come through, like he's a centaur looking thing, like a skeleton centaur. He switches. Man, this really looks like a devil fruit transformation. So maybe these guys all have like mythical zone devil fruits or something. But he goes from what looks like his full beast form to his hybrid form, and he starts disabling the Pacifista. So he has some ice powers, it looks like. And instead of completely destroying them, he's just freezing their internal circuitry and starts systematically taking down the Pacifista so that they're not just completely overrunning the Marines anymore. So, yeah, in this panel here it says the freezing of their neural circuitry has rendered them temporarily paralyzed. So, like, I don't think Bonnie's gonna die in this arc. That'd be pretty dark for Oda. Maybe they find a way to turn the Pacifista, or maybe this is set up for Blackbeard to get the Pacifista later on, since we know that Katarina Devon very possibly can mimic Saturn in maybe issue an order. But again, that would really hinge on something happening to Bonnie. So, but basically, I think that they're still trying to leave the Pacifista operational, and so that, you know, there's a chance of them recovering them. And earlier I mentioned that the satellites, like Atlas, was still up and moving. So I do think there's a chance either Blackbeard or the world government end up with York. Like, I think Vegapunk satellites are going to somehow get split, with maybe Atlas and the remaining ones going with the Giants or the Straw Hats, and York going with either the world government or the Blackbeard pirates. Yeah, so we got Marcus Mars flying in the air. I'm not sure if he does anything yet, or if he's just surveying the area. Although it does look like he's going up to the Labostratum. So maybe he's gonna just power through the barrier, because like we've seen Luffy and other people power through the barrier to make an attempt at stopping the broadcast. And Sanji's like, it's hard to explain what's going on down here, but we can't waste any more time. Oh yeah, look at that. He actually does go right through the dome, and we see an explosion, but I mean, come on. There's no way that the dome's defenses are going to stop the Gorosei. He's definitely making it through there. We got Venus Juro still taking down the Pacifista. We have Saint Shepherd Jew Peter making a move as well. He's about to dive into the ground. And Luffy's like, it's digging like a worm? I guess that makes sense. This should have tipped me off that he was the sandworm because he's digging. We then cut over to the Sunny, and we see that not not Lilith, although this might have been Lilith's plan, and definitely not Brooke stopped the Sunny. No, it was Usopp. Usopp, with one of his pop greens, stopped the Sunny from just sliding right off the Labostratum and into the barrier. And now it's set up for them to, move away or get rid of these bamboos from the pop green and be able to get on the Sunny and escape. But of course, we have Zoro, who I think has been playing with the cat this whole time, because he didn't have his bandana on, and it looks like he still doesn't have his bandana on. But he did switch from 2-sword style, which we saw him in during the last time he was fighting Lucci, to 3-sword style, and this is where he takes him down. I really, I like the name of this, Spotted Leopard Havana Hunt. So it's like, he's like, I'm going to name this just for you, Lucci. Just for you. And he takes him down right there. So this makes me think that Zoro was playing with his food, and that he probably could have taken Lucci down if he really tried and wanted to this whole time. And it's right as Jinbei showed up, so we don't need Jinbei to stall Lucci or help in the battle. Zoro just took him down on his own. And in fact, if anything, we need these two to help us face against the 5 Gorosei that are here now and kind of help the escape happen, rather than it just being all Luffy. Because it actually can't just be all Luffy now, because they're splitting up. They're already moving to different areas, so we're going to need members of the Straw Hats, most likely, in each of these areas to either hold off the Gorosei from targeting the rest of the group, perhaps to protect Vegapunk's broadcast, although I personally like to believe that the broadcast from Vegapunk is not even coming from Egghead. I mean, this is the world's smartest scientist we're talking about. He has already pulled the wool over the Gorosei's eyes multiple times this arc. So I personally like to think that the broadcast either isn't coming from Egghead, or it isn't coming exclusively from Egghead, meaning that even if the Gorosei get through everyone, and it's looking like they will, that they can't fully stop the broadcast. And in the end here, oh yeah, Jupiter was about to eat Luffy. So we, earlier in the arc, we saw Luffy try to eat Lucci, and now we have Jupiter trying to eat Luffy. But in come, I actually forgot about these two, so Luffy does have some more help besides his crew. In come Dory and Broggy, child of the sawing sun, and they just take off Jupiter's head. Now he's going to regenerate. I'm fairly confident that all the remaining Gorosei can regenerate in a similar fashion to Saturn. Like, there's definitely, the Giants are cool. I think they're cool. I also think they're going to get scaled up in terms of power, but this certainly does not spell the end of Jupiter here. So, and then they exclaim that it's been a long time since they've seen Luffy. What a nostalgic face. A dark belly is no place for someone like that. Of course, referring to Luffy, the sun god Nika. And he's like, hang on, the old-timer giants are here too. And ga ba 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 ba. It's been too long, Straw Hat. We had to come see you. The waiting around was getting unbearable. Gya, 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 gya. So we got even the laughs from the giants here. And this is super hype. This definitely raises the stakes and tension to me to where I actually I'd like it this way. I think it makes more sense. Despite Luffy and the Straw Hats now being a Yonko fleet and having a lot of allies, I do believe that it's important for the world government to look imposing. I do still think that they're going to lose in terms of Luffy escaping and Vegapunk's message getting out, but I do think it's important that the Gorosei have a good showing here. And so far from the ones we've seen and from the way this is going, I think they most certainly do. So, yeah, I'm excited for 1111. I mean, I know we just got here, but I'm certainly excited for the next chapter. If you have any thoughts or comments or things you'd like to share, please leave them in the comments below. Like and subscribe. This is a new channel I'm starting, so I'm a huge anime fan. I've been following One Piece for a long time, so it'd be cool to get to talk about this with some other people. And if nothing else, I hope you enjoyed. Have a good rest of your day.